Okay, so for number 2, write the equation in standard form. So I said, first write slope-intercept form, then convert to standard form. So when we're looking at a table, we took notes on this last week, finding slope, all you need is 2 ordered pairs, 2 columns or rows in the table. So let's say you picked the first 2 columns here. So remember, our slope is our change in y over our change in x. So what's happening from 9 to 7? Subtracting 2. And what's happening from -2 to -1? Adding 1. So your slope is -2. What is our y-intercept? 0, 5, so b equals 5. So remember, just look for where x is 0. That y value is your b value. So slope-intercept form would be y equals -2x plus 5. Now we just need to rearrange it. So what would we do to get it in standard form? Correct. Add 2x on both sides, so it becomes 2x plus y equals 5. And then just always go back to your characteristics. We need to make sure a, b, and c are all integers, positive whole numbers, or positive or negative whole numbers. A is the only one that cannot be negative, so that's not negative. They also have to be in simplest form. So greatest common factor between 2, and then this one would be 1, and 5 is 1, so that would be our final answer. All right, now, any questions, Piper?
Does it matter if y is referring to x or 2x have to be?
2x does have to be first, because if we're doing standard form, we have to have the x term first. So yeah, just make sure you're writing it in that order. The x term first, then the y term, and then the equal to the constant. All right, then on this next table, again, change in y is the first thing. So what's from 10 to 7, what's happening? -3, and then what's happening on the x from -4 to -2? Plus 2. So we would put -3 over 2. And then what is the y-intercept? That's the slope. And then our y-intercept is here, 0, 4, so b equals 4. So y equals -3 halves x plus 4. Okay, so that's slope-intercept. Again, just kind of like we were doing over here, we need to move our x term to the opposite side. So what's the inverse operation? Plus 3 halves x to both sides. And then we would just rewrite it. We would put the 3 halves x first, plus y equals 4. But there's one more step, because we can't have, remember, they all have to be integers. They have to be whole numbers. So we can't have a fraction for a. So any ideas how we could convert that to a whole number in simplest form?
Divided by 2.
But that's 1.5 still is like a fraction. We want to multiply it by the denominator. So if the denominator is 2, we have to multiply everything by 2. So anytime you have a fraction, just multiply everything by the denominator. And then what is 3 halves times 2? Well, so if we multiply, remember 2 is like 2 over 1. If you multiply across 2 times 3 is 6 over, and then 1 times 2 is 2, what's 6 divided by 2? 3. So the reason we multiply by the denominator, it cancels out the 2's. You're always left with the numerator, 3x. But then we still have to multiply the 2 by everything else. So what's 2 times y? 2y, and what's 2 times 4? 8. So that would be our new equation, 3x plus 2y equals 8. All 3 of those numbers have a greatest common factor of 1. All right, now do numbers 3 through 4.